I'm going to do something a little bit different today, which is to show the entire process of building this backlit quartz waste of space. I mean fireplace. I call it a waste of space because for the most part, people don't use them. But if you don't have one, then potential buyers think that your house is lacking something. Especially when they think it's okay to have an electric fireplace like this one, which is basically just a light up space heater. It makes no sense at all. This was a bit of a side project that I let span out over quite a while. A very low priority thing that I could put together after I was done whatever the main work for whatever the day I was working on it was. I also have a fun little rant from my attic about how trades price things. As always, use chapters to find the points that you're most interested in. And I'm actually quite surprised that Twitch chat is not trying to throw me off because I still do have my earbuds in. No, it's fine. Like, you're gonna get to see it on YouTube anyway because you're all gonna go watch the YouTube video, right? No, I'm doing this video now. Any YouTube video that involves making or building something has to start in our favorite 3D design program. I modeled the room, then made a copy of the fireplace I had bought. There needed to be room for a TV, and I wanted it to be able to mount in an appropriate height so you're never sitting in your chair and craning your neck back to watch. Then I was able to play around with different heights and general design options, ranging from something that looked like an 80s boombox to what I eventually settled on, a modern classical monolith with adjoining pillars. You know, even that feels low, but I do want to leave space for TV. It doesn't feel like it's too low. It feels like it's... Where's a step stool? The perils of not owning any chairs because they went away in the fire. I mocked the space up with cardboard and tape to see how I liked it. And then I framed it. People are telling me that I should post projects on Instagram. I had originally planned for it to be just flat drywall on the surround, so I boarded it, taped it, filled the screw holes, and sanded it. The drywall is yellow there because I borrowed some finished mud from a neighbor, and that's often tinted yellow so you can see it when touch-ups are done after priming. It's a light enough color that it's easy to hide the primer, and dark enough you can see the areas that need to be reprimed. This is a really awkward thing to build apparently. I could have built the pillars out of 2x4s and then just skimmed them with MDF, but 2x4s were very expensive at the time. There's no need for any real structural strength, so I just hopped on the struggle bus and got to work. Because of the awkward shape of these pillars, being only slightly more than half of a square, I put together some really simple stands that I could clamp the MDF to make it stand up for gluing. There we go, that's nice and stable. So we'll get some glue along this edge, then we can finish off this one piece. So that is one of them. At this point, I was still thinking that the flat painted wall would be my finished product, so I started wood filling, caulking, and sanding edges. I'm gonna be replacing the drywall with a sheet of 8mm thick quartz. And in behind the quartz, I'll put some backlighting, some LED strips. So I'll have a fireplace, spot for a TV, and then LEDs making the whole top section glow. We're gonna take off the drywall and plus up the framing a bit. We'll use this to find the drywall screws. Use a strong magnet to find drywall screws behind tape or mud. After the drywall was off, I wanted to change the framing up a bit. This would let me maximize the amount of LED backlighting I could have. The quartz is plenty strong enough to hold a TV mount on its own, so I didn't need that wide support board anymore. So this is going to be a circuit that I have to run for the fireplace. It wants its own 15 amp circuit. I mean, what would an electrician charge to come and do this? Well, first there's a permit for, you know, it costs them 130 bucks, but they charge 200 because, or you gotta make a margin. It takes time to make 3 clicks for a permit. It takes time, man. Like, it actually takes like 3 or 4 clicks. And I've had people say, oh, it takes a lot of time to do a permit. There's shenanigans from trades. So there's 200 bucks right there. And then
they would charge, you know, probably like 8 or 10 bucks per meter for the Romex, because why not? So there's another 250 bucks, and then they'll charge you 100 bucks travel. So we're up to 500 bucks just to get them to get out here at this point. And of course they're going to insist that they have to staple everything. So then you're looking at like 200 bucks an hour. You know, this easily becomes like a multi-$1,000 job. And of course the electrician would insist on using their breakers, which instead of being 70 bucks are 200, because they had to go buy the breaker. Am I allowed to say it's hard to breathe through this mask on Twitch, or is that going to get me banned? And then of course an electrician, they just don't want to do this stuff, so they give you the I don't want a price. And some electricians think they're too good to do attic work once they become journeymen. They're like, that's apprentice nonsense. How dare you even ask me that? I don't do that sort of thing.
Well, that fits. I made this lattice out of some 1/8 inch hardboard to mount the LED strips to. I tried their adhesive backing on its own, but it didn't hold, so it all got crazy glued. Then I got to start soldering them up. I ran these in parallel rather than series for what we'll call electrical reasons. It gets complicated and technical, and this video is not about that. I spent a good amount of time making sure they were all heat shrinked and tidy. This was partly because, one, I was streaming and wanted to show off, and also because I rarely get to do projects like this, so it can be fun to fuss them up a bit. Oh, this is gonna be a problem. Okay, you know what? No, this is not a problem. This is going to be solved differently. There's actually 2 ways I could look at solving this at this point still. But I do want to see if just straightening them out and getting rid of the twist-wasted space can get it all through the one first. But then, yeah, otherwise it would be separate the colors. All right, let's see if we can do any better with it untwisted. I'd be kind of surprised, but I'd like to try. Oh, that's so much easier. Still gonna be a struggle towards the end because this is a long piece of heat shrink. All right, now we get to actually separate the weds and the whites. You know, when on the swiping apps, I say to someone, all I know is that to me, you look like a lot of fun. Nobody ever gets the reference and they just get really offended. There we go. Ta-da! I know where to strip to. So, do I go and get like a chunk of 14 gauge or just get another piece of this? Excuse you. Yeah, don't buy Frigidaire. It took like 6 months to get that thing sent back on warranty. It's so pretty, look at those twists. Okay, we set down to 0 here. We're gonna put it all on the line. So there's 0, there's on, off. That light went on. Here we go. Oof. That's kind of bright. It's definitely gonna work. But this is why I wanted it super duper overkill. Oh, that's actually painful to look at because I wanted it to be too bright so that you could turn it down. Like any good PC builder, I didn't do anything for final until I knew it was all working. So here I am heat shrinking after. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. Ta-da, light wall. All right. This will be able to, when the time comes, go up to around here. That'll go to the dimmer. The dimmer will have a hole going through here, and then you'll be able to turn it off and on here. The dimmer had a dial built in, but I needed to be able to get the controls on the outside of the fireplace without mounting the whole black box on the surface. So I got to practice soldering a bit. This is the Moose Does Stuff channel, not the Moose Renovates a House channel. Anytime I can afford myself a little bit of different and fun, I'll always take that opportunity. That's something I do in all aspects of my life, not just work projects. It's not vacations or travel that make life worth living, it should be every day. And then if it works, we can rebuild some of this thing. So that appears to function correctly, and I am pleased. Now it's not gonna be, is that gonna be too short? That is gonna be too short. Because I'm gonna have to be able to solder these back on once everything is reattached and the sides are on. So we're gonna actually lengthen those, which means undoing all of this work I just did. This fireplace was about the most I ran into for redo a thing. I redid the framing, redid the facing, and redid this wiring. So there's that. It's kind of an ugly color, but you know what? This might actually be a really decent. So it's gonna end up on the side of the MDF here, and it's gonna be your off and on control. As we saw with my previous videos on templating quartz, here's a big sheet of corrugated plastic that I got to use to template with. Moose used RotoZip. It was super effective. So I'm also going to have this as a major piece of cutout. So I'm gonna have this much quartz and that much quartz as like, here's something I don't know what to do with. And it will actually extend out to about here. So no worries there. I'm pretty sure those scraps got turned into shower niche backers. I skipped over installing the MDF spacers on the front of the framing because it was boring. I had to do it because the plug for the LEDs was too thick to fit with the fireplace. And that's pretty well centered. And moving the framing would have meant rebuilding the framing. So what we're doing here is we're trying to scribe the shape of the floor reasonably accurately. And then I can cut this floor, take this off, cut the floor, set it back down. Should have a basically perfect edge here. All right, so that is gonna fall on my head, but it's pretty okay on the floor. It's too bad I messed up the templating, so it has the red lines, but you can still get a pretty decent idea of what's going on. I discovered that even when on the lowest setting, the dimmer switch still allowed some electricity through and the lights were on slightly. So to solve that, I got a switch and wired that in. Okay, so now we have a little bit of protect here. We're not gonna heat that on until everything's run back through, but we can at least turn off and on. Yeah, oh, that's backwards. No, it was right. Then, to keep the power supply accessible, I opened up the fireplace and mounted the power supply in some of its empty space. Yay, it worked.
Okay, what are we doing?
Just getting it towards the bottom of these. And then we can tip it onto this. Love that sound.
That's your system.
Yeah. Then it's try to tilt. And slide. And this is where it becomes a problem.
How far along are we?
Not very.
Well, let's go a little further.
Well,
6 inches.
here. I'll come to the middle. And we'll just do this. I got the slab. Use 2 hands.
Would be easier if you only had 2 of these.
Okay, just toss it. Drop it, yeah.
Piece of cake.
Dude, this way.
Yeah. I didn't want to slide it. than necessary.
All right, let's get the template. I'm leaving out all of the actual quartz fabrication here because I've already done 2 videos about that. So if you want to see it, check them out, linked in the description. I'm leaving in the quartz mounting and moving because that's at least something new that we haven't really seen much of yet. Yay! I'm using a standard whatever silicone here because it's good enough. People build aquariums using this and they hold way more weight than this will ever have to. So I'm thinking about like this.
Okay, now I can hold it while you move it sideways to get it fit.
Why are we hitting up there so much already? Okay, well. Okay, bring that back down a little bit. Okay, your end. Okay, we have to go that way. A little more. A little bit more. Too much. That'll be close. Okay, let's get the ram board out again.
Okay, so we're gonna put back.
Okay, I want you to hold this in the middle to do this. Okay.
Oh, just tear it out of the way.
Well, I can't. It'll stay stuck.
No, you tear the part out of the way and then it's easier to pull the stuck part out.
Tilt it that way a little bit. Okay. And then the other way. There. Okay. Need to go this way just a bit. Quarter inch or so.
It's gotta come down. We're still rubbing on the roof.
Oh. A little bit more that way. Okay. Hold it there. Yeah, I shouldn't have rubbed the outside. I forgot about that. Okay.
Now, if we can flex in the middle a little.
Yep. There we go.
Oh my goodness.
It's because this got built up when I originally did the drywall.
What a beautiful fit.
So, squish it in. It's not gonna fall now. Squish it in the sides. Someone has to get up and squish in the top a little bit. And a little high on the right side. Some of that will get covered. Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun in the shower tonight. Like, you won't even be able to shave that off. Let's turn it on one time. I'll have you turn it on so I can stand back and look at it.
Push or twist?
It's a button. This was all a huge waste of time and money that nobody who's looked at the house seems to care about. I will never do it again. Tell me in the comments if it's a feature that you'd like in your house, and also how often you use your fireplace if you have one. Everything else is voiceover and B-roll. Yeah, and then we'll just do one more little bit of turn it off, turn it on. Goes really bright, goes really dim. Hey look, I'm finally making an outro. I hope you liked whatever video that was. If you have questions about it, or really anything else at all, like actually anything, DIY, photography, weightlifting, Assassin's Creed, live streaming, you name it. I have a new dedicated questions channel on my Discord, link below. I'll be putting all the answers at the end of upcoming videos, and I'll tag you on the Discord when those answers are posted. The next video should be about something, and will get posted when it's finished. So if you do the YouTube things, YouTube will do the you things.